Welcome to the deep ocean. Take a slow breath. Far above you, the surface of the sea moves with waves and light, but below, there is another world, a world of darkness, silence, and calm. Imagine yourself floating on the surface of a vast ocean. The water is gentle, the air is quiet. Now, slowly, you begin to drift downward. At first, sunlight surrounds you. The water glows soft blue, warm, peaceful. You sink a little deeper, and the light begins to change. Colors fade, one by one. Red disappears first, then orange, then yellow. The world becomes blue, and then darker blue. Take another slow breath. You continue to descend, slowly, gently. At 100 meters, the surface already feels far away. At 200 meters, the light becomes dim. At 500 meters, the last sunlight disappears. And then, darkness. Not empty darkness, but deep, endless, quiet darkness. The water here is cold, still, calm, and yet, life exists here. Creatures move slowly in the deep because energy is precious. Food is rare. Every movement matters. In the deep ocean, nothing is wasted. Take a slow breath. Above you, far beyond sight, the surface world is full of activity. But down here, energy arrives in a different way. It falls, slowly, gently, like snow. Scientists call it marine snow. Tiny particles drift down through the water. Fragments of plants, microscopic life, waste from animals, dust from the living world above. Each piece sinks slowly. Some take days, some take weeks, to reach the depths. Imagine the darkness around you, and through that darkness, countless tiny particles floating downward, always falling, always moving. For many deep-sea creatures, this silent snowfall is their only source of food. Some animals do not hunt. They do not chase. They wait, floating quietly, arms extended, bodies still. When enough particles collect, they feed. No sudden movement, no wasted energy, only patience. In this world, patience is survival. Take another slow breath. The deeper you go, the colder the water becomes. Near the seafloor, the temperature stays just above freezing. Movement here is slow because life runs on very little energy. Some creatures crawl across the mud, others drift, carried gently by deep currents. Everything moves slowly, quietly, carefully. Take a moment, let your shoulders relax, let your breathing slow. As you drift deeper, the ocean becomes quieter. There is no wind here, no waves, no sound from the surface world, only stillness, only darkness, only calm, and far below, the silent snowfall continues, always drifting, always falling, and you continue to descend, slowly, gently, into the peaceful deep. You continue to drift. The darkness around you grows deeper. The water feels heavier now, colder, quieter. Take a slow breath. Far above, the surface world feels distant. The sunlight, the waves, the movement of life, all of it is far away. Down here, time feels slower. The ocean does not rush. Nothing moves quickly. Energy is too precious. Every creature lives carefully. Some rest for long periods, waiting, saving strength, because food may not come for days or weeks. Take another slow breath around you. The silent snowfall continues, tiny particles drifting endlessly downward. Some creatures follow this slow rain, moving gently through the water. Others remain still, waiting for the ocean to bring food to them. In the deep sea, movement is a choice, and stillness is often the better strategy. The cold water surrounds you. Your descent continues, meter by meter, slowly, gently. There is no sound here, no current strong enough to disturb the calm. only darkness, only silence, only the slow rhythm of the deep ocean. Take a moment, relax your shoulders, let your breathing become slow and steady. Imagine yourself floating, weightless, carried gently downward. The deeper you go, the more peaceful the ocean becomes. And far below, the vast seafloor waits, cold, quiet, endless. And you continue to drift, slowly, gently, into the calm darkness. Take a slow breath. As you drift, imagine the ocean as an endless night sky, not above you, but all around you. A quiet space where distance feels larger and time feels softer. Down here, there are no sudden changes, no bright flashes, no sharp sounds, only a gentle, steady rhythm, particles drifting, water moving, a calm pressure, holding everything in place. Take another slow breath. Somewhere in the darkness, a small creature floats without effort. Its body is soft, almost weightless. It does not fight the ocean, it simply belongs to it. In the deep sea, this is the secret, not resistance, but acceptance. To survive, many animals become flexible. They become slow, they become quiet, they save energy, as if every heartbeat matters. Because it does. Food is limited, and in this world, wasting energy is the fastest way to disappear. Take a slow breath. Imagine marine snow again. Tiny pieces of life falling from far above, soft fragments slowly drifting down. Some pieces are so small, they are almost invisible, and yet, to the deep sea, they are everything. A single particle can be enough to keep a small creature alive, a gentle meal carried by the ocean itself. The deep sea is not a place of speed, it is a place of patience, and patience can be peaceful. Take another slow breath, let your mind become quiet. If thoughts appear, let them drift past like marine snow, slowly, gently, without effort. And as you continue to descend, imagine the seafloor far below, a wide plain of soft mud, cold, still, endless. A place where life moves slowly, and the ocean never rushes. And you continue to drift downward, calm, safe, and quiet. You are drifting deeper now. The surface world is far above, and the ocean around you feels calmer, darker, more still. Take a slow breath. At these depths, there is no sunrise, no sunset, no bright horizon, only a gentle, endless night. This region of the ocean is sometimes called the twilight, and then the midnight, because light fades away until none remains. Imagine the water as a soft curtain, and behind it, quiet darkness. You continue to descend, slowly, gently. The temperature drops, the water becomes cold in a steady, patient way, not sudden, not harsh, just quietly, colder. Meter by meter, take another slow breath. Down here, food is not easy. At the surface, life is abundant. Small organisms multiply quickly, fish move constantly, everything feeds and is fed upon in a cycle of motion and light. But in the deep ocean, that cycle becomes thin. The deeper you go, the less food you find. And because food is scarce, life adapts. Not by becoming faster, but by becoming careful, by becoming efficient, by becoming still. Take a slow breath. In the darkness, many animals do not rely on sight. They rely on other senses, a faint vibration in the water, a gentle change in pressure, a soft chemical scent, a tiny movement of current. These small signals can be enough to guide a creature toward its next meal. But meals can be rare. Sometimes a deep-sea animal may wait for days or weeks without eating. So it learns to rest, to drift, to move only when it must. In the deep ocean, stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is strategy. Take another slow breath. As you descend, imagine the water around you as thick, quiet velvet. The sound of the world is muted. Even your imagination feels slower here. And in this calm darkness, a gentle snowfall continues, marine snow, tiny particles drifting down from the surface world, soft fragments, quiet meals, falling through the dark. Imagine those particles now, floating downward like slow dust in a beam of light. Only here, there is no beam, only the particles and the darkness. Take a slow breath. Some creatures are built to harvest this slow snowfall. They extend delicate arm or feathery structures or soft filaments and simply wait. They do not chase food, they let the ocean deliver it. When enough particles gather, they feed, slowly, carefully, without hurry, because in the deep sea, there is no advantage to rushing. Rushing wastes energy, and energy is life. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the deep currents. They are not like surface waves. They do not crash. They do not roar. They move slowly, quietly, like a giant breath passing through the ocean. A deep current can carry a drifting animal for many miles, without effort. So some creatures use the ocean itself as transportation. They become light, soft, almost weightless, and let the water take them where it will. In the deep ocean, surrender can be survival. Take a slow breath. You are now entering a world that feels ancient. The seafloor below has been shaped over millions of years. The water above presses down steadily, and the pressure increases with every meter you descend, but you are safe, floating gently, just listening. The ocean is calm, and the darkness is soft. Take another slow breath. In this zone, many creatures are faintly luminous. They carry their own light, not bright, not blinding, just small glows, tiny sparks, like distant stars. This light can be used to find mates, to confuse predators, or to lure prey closer in the darkness. Bioluminescence is one of the deep ocean's quiet wonders, a language of light spoken softly in a world without sun. Take a slow breath. Imagine a small glow drifting past you, a single point of blue-green light, moving slowly, then disappearing into the black water. Nothing dramatic, nothing fast, just a gentle reminder that life is here. Even in the dark, take another slow breath. The deeper you go, the colder it becomes, and yet life continues. Some animals have slow hearts, slow movements, long lifespans. They live carefully, as if each day is meant to be stretched, made longer, made calmer. In the deep sea, being slow is often a gift. Take a slow breath, and as you drift, imagine your thoughts becoming like marine snow. If a thought appears, let it float, let it drift downward, and let it disappear. No effort, no struggle, just drifting. Slowly, gently, quietly. Take another slow breath. Far below, the seafloor waits, a wide plain of cold mud, silent, flat, endless. Life is sparse there, but not absent. Small creatures crawl slowly, sifting the sediment, searching for the freshest particles that have settled from above. They do not need much, just enough. And that is how the deep ocean works, not through abundance, but through patience. Take a slow breath. You continue to descend. The darkness remains calm. The water remains still, and the ocean continues its slow, steady rhythm. Currents breathing, particles drifting, life moving quietly, without hurry, without noise, without end. And as you listen, allow your body to relax, your shoulders soften, your breathing slow as you drift deeper into the peaceful midnight zone where the ocean is calm and you are safe, and the darkness is gentle. You are still drifting deeper into the calm ocean night. Take a slow breath. Down here, there is no sunlight, no green plants, no fields of algae. And yet, life continues because energy can travel from the surface to the deep in a quiet way. It falls slowly, gently, like snow. Scientists call it marine snow. Imagine it now, tiny particles drifting downward through endless darkness, not rushing, not swirling, just falling softly, patiently, as if the ocean itself is breathing them downward. Take a slow breath. Marine snow is made of many things: fragments of plankton, dust from microscopic plants, waste from animals, pieces of jelly-like bodies, tiny shells, even fine grains of mineral dust that drift out from land and settle into the sea. The surface world is busy, bright, full of motion, and from that motion, small pieces break away. Little by little, those pieces begin to sink. They become food for the deep. Take another slow breath. As marine snow falls, it changes. Some particles join together into larger flakes. Some break apart into smaller crumbs. Some are eaten long before they reach the bottom. Because the ocean is layered, and many creatures live between the surface and the seafloor. They hover in the water column, waiting for falling food, catching it, nibbling it, filtering it. And even as they feed, they create more snowfall, because their own waste becomes part of the rain. The deep ocean is fed not by one event, but by endless, gentle repetition. Take a slow breath. Now imagine a creature floating in the dark, almost motionless. It does not chase, it does not hunt. It simply extends soft, delicate filaments and waits. As particles drift past, they stick, they gather, they collect like dust on a quiet surface. Slowly, a meal forms, and the creature feeds. In the deep ocean, waiting is not weakness, waiting is intelligence. Take another slow breath. Many deep-sea animals have learned the same lesson. Energy is rare, so they live on the smallest possible budget. They do not waste movement, they do not waste heat, they do not waste time. They become calm, and in doing so, they survive. Imagine the seafloor far below, a wide plain of cold mud and fine sediment. It stretches in every direction, flat, silent, endless. When marine snow reaches this plain, it does not form a thick layer. It is thin, scattered, sparse, a gentle dusting across a huge world. So if you live down there, you may need to search, but searching costs energy, and energy is precious. So the deep sea creates another kind of solution. Creatures that move slowly and carefully, and only when they must. Take a slow breath. Some animals crawl across the mud using tiny tube feet. They sift the sediment gently, separating the newest particles from the older grains. They feed without hurry. They do not need much, just enough. A few fresh flakes can be a feast when the world is quiet. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the ocean current. Down here, it is not violent, it does not crash, it does not roar. It moves like a slow river through darkness, a gentle push, a steady flow. And some creatures use it. When food becomes scarce in one place, they do not panic, they do not rush. They wait until a current arrives, and then they allow the water to carry them softly to a new patch of seafloor. In the deep ocean, even travel can be passive, even movement can be restful. Take a slow breath. Marine snow is more than food. It is also a connection, a link between worlds, between sunlight and darkness, between the busy surface and the quiet deep. It carries carbon downward, locking it away in the deep sea sediments. For the planet, this matters, because the ocean is one of Earth's great systems, slowly balancing the chemistry of life. But tonight, you do not need to think about the planet. You only need to drift and listen. Take another slow breath. Imagine the marine snow again, a constant, gentle fall, like soft dust inside a dark room, like slow flakes in still air, always falling, always arriving, and as it arrives, it feeds creatures you will never see. Soft-bodied animals, tiny scavengers, slow filter feeders, bacteria that coat the seafloor, life that survives without noise, without light, without hurry. Take a slow breath. In the deep ocean, storms do not reach. Waves do not disturb. There is no bright morning to begin a new day. There is only steady darkness and steady time and steady falling food. That steadiness can feel comforting because it does not change quickly. It does not surprise you. It simply continues. Take another slow breath. If your mind feels busy, imagine those thoughts becoming small particles. Let them drift. Let them fall away. Slowly, gently, down into the dark. No effort, no struggle, just drifting. Take another slow breath. You are still descending. The water is colder, the darkness deeper, and the marine snow continues, softly feeding the ocean below. A calm world built on patience, a world where life survives with the smallest meals and the slowest movements and the quietest chemistry. And as you listen, let the calmness of the deep spread through your body. Relax your shoulders, soften your jaw, slow your breathing, and continue to drift deeper into the peaceful ocean night, while marine snow falls endlessly, gently, quietly through the darkness. You are still drifting deeper into the calm ocean night. Take a slow breath. Down here, the deep ocean does not reward speed, it rewards patience, because food is rare. And when food is rare, the best strategy is often to wait, to stay still, to conserve energy, and to let the ocean bring nourishment to you. Take another slow breath. Imagine the water around you, dark, cold, quiet, and filled with tiny, drifting particles, marine snow, falling endlessly like a soft dusting through the darkness. Many creatures here live their entire lives on this gentle snowfall, but to do that, they must be built for waiting, built for stillness, built for calm. Take a slow breath. Some animals in the deep look almost unreal, soft, gelatinous, slow-moving. Their bodies are not designed for chasing and sprinting. They are designed for floating, for hovering, for resting in the water column like a drifting thought. And when food falls, they gather it without hurry, without struggle. Take another slow breath. In the deep ocean, even hunting can look like waiting. Some predators do not chase prey for long distances. That would cost too much energy. Instead, they become almost invisible. They drift in place, or rest near the seafloor. And when a small animal comes close, they strike once. A single motion, a sudden gulp, then stillness again. In the deep sea, one quick action can be followed by many hours or many days of rest. Take a slow breath. But tonight, we are focusing on another kind of survival. The quiet survivors, the collectors, the filter feeders, the creatures that survive by letting the ocean deliver food like a slow mail system, one particle at a time. Imagine a creature hovering in the dark, arms extended gently like a slow umbrella. It does not move quickly, it does not rush. It simply holds its body in the path of falling food and collects what it can. Take another slow breath. Some deep sea animals use mucus, soft, sticky mucus, as a tool, not for fighting, not for attacking, but for catching. Mucus can trap tiny particles that are too small to grasp, and in the deep sea, tiny particles are often all you get, so an animal may extend long, delicate filaments, coated with sticky mucus, and let marine snow accumulate slowly. When enough particles gather, it pulls the filaments inward, gathers the food, and feeds slowly, gently, without drama. Take a slow breath. Other animals build structures, not with sticks, not with stone, but with mucus and water. They create a soft filter, a kind of temporary house that floats around their body. This house catches tiny particles passing through the water, particles so small they might otherwise be missed, and when the filter becomes clogged, the animal abandons it. The house drifts downward, becoming marine snow itself, feeding creatures even deeper. In the deep sea, even leftovers become important. Nothing is wasted. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the seafloor again, the abyssal plain. A wide, flat world, cold and silent, stretching farther than the eye can see if there were any light to see it. Marine snow settles here, but it settles thinly, a gentle dusting across an enormous desert. So the creatures that live here often do something very simple. They sift, they sort, they crawl slowly and pass sediment through delicate feeding structures, looking for the freshest particles, like someone searching gently through soft sand for tiny grains of food. Take a slow breath. This kind of life is not exciting. It is not fast. It is not loud, but it is successful, because in the deep ocean, the rules are different. A small meal can be enough. A slow movement can be ideal. A quiet body can last a long time. Take another slow breath. Some animals of the abyss move in a way that seems almost sleepy. They crawl for a short time, then rest. They feed briefly, then pause. They wait for currents, then allow themselves to be carried to a new place without spending extra energy. The ocean itself becomes their transportation, their helper, their guide. Take a slow breath. And above the seafloor, in the water column, other creatures drift like ghosts, jellies, soft-bodied animals, transparent hunters, filter feeders. Some appear and disappear like a thought, one moment visible, the next moment gone. In the darkness, bioluminescent sparks sometimes flicker, not bright, not sudden, just a faint glow, like a distant star, a quiet message in a world without sun. Take a slow breath. Bioluminescence can be used in many ways, to confuse predators, to attract mates, to lure prey closer. But in sleep documentaries, we do not rush into drama. We simply notice the glow and let it pass, because down here, everything is slow, everything is calm. Take another slow breath. Imagine a small glowing animal drifting below you, soft blue-green light, moving gently, then fading. The darkness returns, calm, still, safe. Take a slow breath. In the deep ocean, life does not fight the darkness. It adapts to it. It becomes part of it. Creatures here are not waiting because they are weak. They are waiting because waiting works. The ocean is steady. The ocean is constant. And with enough time, food arrives, a little at a time, a flake, a fragment, a tiny piece of life from above. Take a slow breath, and as you listen, you can borrow this deep sea strategy. You do not need to rush. You do not need to solve anything tonight. You can wait. You can rest. You can let your mind settle like marine snow, drifting slowly downward into calm darkness. Take another slow breath. If thoughts come, let them come. If they leave, let them leave. No effort, no struggle, just drifting, just waiting, just calm. Take a slow breath. Far below, the abyssal plain remains, cold, silent, endless. And across that plain, small creatures continue their slow routines, sifting, feeding, resting, waiting, always waiting, because the deep sea is patient, and patience is the deep ocean's greatest adaptation. Take a slow breath. Now imagine you are floating, weightless, safe, held gently by the water. The darkness around you is not threatening. It is soft, it is quiet, it is still. And somewhere in that stillness, marine snow continues to fall, softly, endlessly, quietly, feeding the deep ocean below. And you continue to drift, deeper, calmer, more relaxed, as if the ocean is guiding you towards sleep. One gentle sentence at a time. Take one more slow breath and let the calm continue. You are drifting lower now, closer to the seafloor, where the ocean becomes even quieter. Take a slow breath. Far above, the surface world is still moving, but down here, everything feels slow, as if time itself has softened. The seafloor of the deep ocean is not like a beach. It is not bright. It is not warm. It is a wide plain of fine sediment, cold, dark, and almost perfectly still. Scientists call these regions the abyssal plains. They stretch for thousands of kilometers, flat, endless, silent. Take another slow breath. Marine snow continues to fall, and when it finally reaches the bottom, it becomes a thin layer of food, not thick, not abundant, just a gentle dusting spread across an enormous world. And because the food is so spread out, many animals here learn to eat in a slow, careful way. They do not waste energy, they do not rush. They move in small amounts, then rest, then move again. In the deep sea, rest is part of survival. Take a slow breath. Imagine a small creature on the seafloor, moving carefully across the mud. It uses tiny tube feet, or soft appendages, to crawl without lifting much sediment. It pauses often because even walking costs energy here. When it finds a patch where fresh particles have settled, it begins to feed, not aggressively, not quickly, but gently, sifting the sediment, separating the newest food from the older grains. Then it moves on again, slowly, patiently, as if it has all the time in the world. Take another slow breath. Some deep-sea animals feed by filtering. Others feed by grazing. Some swallow the sediment and digest only the tiny organic parts, then release the rest. The process is simple, but in the deep ocean, simple is powerful, because simple conserves energy, and energy is everything. Take a slow breath. The abyssal plain can feel like a desert, but it is a living desert. Small life is scattered across it, like stars in a dark sky. Here and there, a sea star, a sea cucumber, a small crustacean, a worm hidden beneath the surface. Most are not fast, most are not aggressive. They are designed for endurance, for long periods of low food, for cold water, for darkness, for patience. Take another slow breath. And sometimes a gentle current passes over the seafloor. Not a storm, not a surge, just a slow movement of water, a deep ocean breath. This current can carry fresh marine snow into new places, creating small feeding patches that appear and then fade. Some animals sense this change. They follow it slowly, or they wait for the current to help them move. In the deep sea, the ocean does the work. The ocean becomes a vehicle, a slow conveyor belt, a quiet guide. Take a slow breath. Imagine an animal that can sail, not with a fin in the air, but with its body in the water. When food becomes scarce, it does not walk for miles. Instead, it lifts a soft part of its body and lets the current catch it, gently pushing it across the seafloor to the next place where food has settled. No rush, no struggle, just drifting, even along the bottom. Take another slow breath. Down here, the temperature stays close to freezing. Cold slows the chemistry of life. It slows muscles, it slows digestion, it slows the heartbeat. So the creatures of the abyss often live with slow rhythms. They may grow slowly, but they can survive for long periods. They do not spend energy quickly. They do not burn through meals. They stretch each small feeding event, making it last. Take a slow breath. In some places, the seafloor is completely flat. In other places, there are small ridges, soft hills, and gentle depressions. None of it is dramatic, but in the deep ocean, even small changes in terrain can affect where food collects. A slight dip may trap particles. A ridge may catch a slow current. A sheltered area may gather more marine snow. So the deep-sea animals learn the landscape, not with eyes, but with touch, with chemical signals, with the steady memory of the currents. Take a slow breath, and if you listen carefully, you can imagine the sound of the deep. Not loud, not clear, but a soft, distant hush, like the ocean is holding its breath. A calm pressure surrounds everything, a steady weight that never changes quickly. And in that steady environment, life becomes steady too. Slow, calm, patient. Take a slow breath. If your thoughts are still active, let them soften. Let them become like sediment, settling gently to the bottom. No effort, no struggle, just settling, slowly, quietly, into stillness. Take another slow breath. The abyssal plain is not empty. It is simply quiet. And sometimes, far away, a larger event occurs. Something falls from above, a larger piece of food, a rare gift. But most days, most nights, the deep ocean survives on the gentle snow and the slow feeding and the calm waiting. Take a slow breath. Now imagine yourself hovering just above the seafloor, watching a small creature feed, slowly sifting, slowly moving, then resting again. Everything is unhurried, everything is calm, and in this calm, your body can relax. Your shoulders soften, your breathing slows, and the deep ocean continues, steady, quiet, endless, as marine snow falls, and the seafloor waits, and life continues, patiently, in the darkness. Take a slow breath down here. Even silence has layers. There is the quiet of distance, and the quiet of depth, and the quiet of a world that rarely changes. Imagine the seafloor again, cold mud, fine sediment, and tiny drifting particles settling gently like dust. No sudden movement, no sharp edges, only soft shapes and slow routines. Take another slow breath. A small creature pauses, as if listening to the water, not with ears, but with the whole body. A faint current passes, so gentle, it barely disturbs the sediment, and still it carries information, a hint of food, a hint of direction, a reminder that the ocean is moving even when it feels still. Take a slow breath in the abyss. Life does not need excitement. It needs consistency. A little food, arriving regularly. A little movement, only when necessary. A little patience, again and again. And that patience becomes a rhythm, like slow breathing, steady, quiet, unbroken. Take another slow breath. If your mind is awake, let it soften. Let thoughts become lighter, then heavier, then settle, like sediment, like marine snow, drifting down and resting at the bottom. No effort, no struggle, just calm. Take one more slow breath and remain here, near the seafloor, where the ocean is quiet and time is slow and everything is gently, steadily, peaceful. You are still in the deep, where the ocean is calm and the darkness feels endless. Take a slow breath. In the deep sea, food is rare. And when food is rare, hunting becomes a careful decision. Because hunting costs energy. Movement costs energy. Even thinking in a biological sense costs energy. So deep-sea predators do not hunt the way surface predators do. They do not chase for long distances. They do not waste strength. They wait. They listen. They strike only when the moment is right. Take another slow breath. Imagine a predator in the darkness, floating almost motionless. Its body is soft. Its muscles are relaxed. It drifts slowly as if it is sleeping, but it is not sleeping, it is conserving, because in the deep ocean, conserving energy is survival. A small vibration moves through the water, a faint chemical signal, a tiny shadow passing by, and the predator becomes alert, not with fast motion, but with focus. It adjusts its position slowly, quietly, and waits for the prey to come closer. Take a slow breath. In the deep sea, many predators use ambush. Ambush is efficient. Instead of spending energy searching, the predator becomes part of the background and lets the prey approach. Some deep-sea hunters have mouths that open wide, far wider than you would expect. This is because meals are unpredictable. When food arrives, you take as much as you can because you do not know when the next meal will come. So the deep sea creates hunters with expandable stomachs, flexible jaws, and bodies designed to store energy for later. Take another slow breath. Other predators rely on sensitivity. They cannot see well, so they feel. They sense movement through the water like a quiet ripple. They sense pressure changes like a soft pulse. They sense chemical traces like a faint scent trail. In the deep ocean, smell can travel far. A small piece of food, a wounded animal, or a drifting body can release chemicals that spread through the currents. And those currents carry information. Take a slow breath. Now imagine a scavenger, one of the deep sea's patient cleaners. Scavengers do not need to kill, they need to find what is already falling. In a world where food is scarce, scavenging can be very successful. A dead animal drifting down, a piece of flesh, a broken jelly, a fragment of bone. All of these are valuable, so scavengers often have strong senses. They can detect food from a distance and travel slowly toward it. Not rushing, not sprinting, but moving steadily, as if guided by the ocean itself. Take a slow breath. Sometimes a rare event happens. Something large falls, a bigger meal than usual. In the deep ocean, this can change everything. When a large food source arrives, many creatures gather. Not because they are aggressive, but because the opportunity is too rare to ignore. They feed, they rest, they feed again. And after the feast, they may disappear back into the darkness, leaving only quiet traces behind. Take another slow breath. Deep-sea hunting is often brief. A single action, then silence. A single burst of movement, then stillness. Because the deep sea does not reward constant activity, it rewards efficiency. Imagine a predator waiting for hours without moving, drifting, hovering, letting the water support its body. Then a moment arrives. A small animal approaches close enough, and the predator strikes. A quick motion, a sudden suction, a gentle gulp. Then the water becomes quiet again. Take a slow breath. This rhythm, stillness, and then brief action, can feel strangely calming to imagine, because it is simple, it is focused, and it is slow most of the time. If your mind is busy tonight, you can borrow this deep sea rhythm. Long periods of stillness, with only occasional movement. Long periods of calm, with only occasional thoughts. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the deep ocean as a wide space, a black water sky, and within it, small lights sometimes appear. Bioluminescent signals, soft glows in the darkness. Sometimes predators use these glows. Some have small lights near their mouths, as if offering a tiny lantern. A curious creature approaches, thinking it has found something interesting, and then the hunter feeds. Even this, in the deep ocean, is done quietly. No chaos, no noise, just a calm moment, and then stillness returns. Take a slow breath. Other deep-sea animals hunt even more gently. They drift with open mouth, filtering small organisms from the water. They do not chase, they do not attack, they simply gather. A slow kind of hunting, almost like breathing. In the deep ocean, feeding can be as calm as drifting. Take a slow breath, and after feeding, most deep-sea predators rest. They reduce their movement. They slow their body processes. They digest slowly. They become calm again. Because in the deep sea, rest is not laziness. Rest is strategy. Rest is survival. Take a slow breath. Imagine yourself floating again, safe, quiet, surrounded by darkness. The ocean is still, the water is cold, and somewhere far away, a deep-sea predator rests after a rare meal, motionless, weightless, drifting in the endless night. Everything is calm. Everything is slow, and you can allow your body to follow the same rhythm. Slow breathing, soft shoulders, a quiet mind, drifting gently through the deep ocean night. Take one more slow breath and let the calm continue. You are still in the deep ocean where darkness feels endless and the water is calm. Take a slow breath. In this world, food is rare. Days can pass, weeks can pass, with only the gentle fall of marine snow. Small particles, small meals. Enough to survive, but never enough to feel abundant. And then, once in a great while, something extraordinary happens, something large, something powerful, something that changes the deep ocean for years, sometimes decades. This event is called a whale fall. Take a slow breath. Far above, in the sunlit ocean, a whale has spent its life moving through open water, breathing air, swimming through blue light, following currents, feeding across vast distances. A whale is not built for the deep, not in the way trench creatures are. It belongs to the surface world, the world of sunlight and waves. But time passes, as it does for everything. The whale grows older, its body slows, its heart works harder, and one day the long journey ends. Take a slow breath. When the whale dies, its body becomes still. For a moment, it floats, suspended, held gently by the water. as if the ocean is deciding what happens next. Then, slowly, the body begins to sink. Not quickly, not dramatically, just downward, steady, quiet, as if the ocean is turning a page. Take another slow breath. The descent of a whale can take hours, sometimes days. It moves through layers of water, each layer darker, each layer colder, each layer quieter. At first, sunlight still touches the body, faintly, softly. Then the light fades. The blue becomes deeper, the world becomes twilight, then midnight, and the whale continues to sink. Take a slow breath. As it descends, small life begins to notice. Not with eyes, but with chemistry. A faint trail, a subtle scent, molecules spreading outward, carried by gentle currents. In the deep ocean, scent can travel far, and a whale, even sinking silently, is an event, a rare event, a signal, a promise of food. Take another slow breath. The whale passes through drifting marine snow, tiny flakes falling around it like soft dust, and for a moment, the whale itself seems like a falling mountain, moving through a quiet storm of particles. The body turns slowly, rolling gently as currents touch it. No noise, no panic, only the slow certainty of gravity and the calm pressure of water. Take a slow breath. Far below, the seafloor waits, a vast plain, cold mud, fine sediment, a living desert, a place where food is thin, life is scattered. But when the whale arrives, that changes, because a whale fall is not a small meal. It is an island of abundance in a sea of scarcity. Take another slow breath. Imagine the whale now, still sinking, still descending. The water around it grows colder, the pressure increases, the darkness deepens, and yet the body remains. Soft tissue, thick layers, bones filled with rich nutrients, all of it moving downward toward the abyss. Take a slow breath. As the whale sinks, some scavengers may encounter it in mid-water. Small creatures might take tiny bites, not enough to change the body quickly, but enough to begin the process. A whale fall often begins before it reaches the bottom. Life starts working immediately, because in the deep ocean, nothing valuable waits for long. Take another slow breath. The whale continues to sink. Now the darkness is complete. No sunlight, no horizon, only black water. And within that black, the whale's pale body becomes a moving shape, a slow shadow, descending. Around it, there may be small glows, bioluminescent sparks, tiny organisms flickering like distant stars. The deep ocean is never truly empty. It is simply quiet. Take another slow breath. Hours pass. The whale nears the seafloor. The abyssal plain becomes clearer, not by sight, but by imagination. A broad, cold surface, soft sediment, a place where small animals crawl slowly, sifting for marine snow. They do not know what is coming. They live in a world of gentle scarcity. Then the whale arrives. Take a slow breath. The body touches the seafloor. It settles into the mud, not with a crash, but with a soft arrival. Sediment rises like a slow cloud, then falls again, and the whale lies still, a massive shape resting on the abyssal plain. In the deep ocean, this is a feast, a banquet, an event that may not happen here again for years. Take another slow breath. The scent spreads, the signal grows stronger, and from the darkness, scavengers begin to arrive. They come slowly, patiently, guided by chemistry. Some arrive first, the early visitors, deep-sea fish, crustaceans, hagfish. They approach carefully, as if the whale is a new landscape, a strange island that did not exist yesterday. Take a slow breath. They begin to feed, not all at once, not violently, but steadily. They tear small pieces. They pull soft tissue. They carry fragments away. The process is slow, but constant. Over days, over weeks, over months, the soft flesh begins to disappear. Take a slow breath. As scavengers feed, they scatter pieces across the seafloor, and those scattered pieces feed others: sea stars, small worms, anemones, tiny crustaceans. A whale fall does not feed only one creature. It feeds a community. It feeds a neighborhood of life. It becomes a center around which the deep ocean gathers. Take another slow breath. In time, the whale changes. The flesh thins. The body becomes lighter. The bones begin to show. And when the bones appear, a new stage begins. Because whale bones are not empty. They are rich, filled with fats and nutrients locked inside mineral structure. In the deep ocean, even bone can be food if you have the right tools. Take a slow breath. Some creatures specialize in this stage. They arrive when the bones are exposed. They are patient. They do not need the fresh flesh. They are waiting for what comes next. They are waiting for the quiet, long meal sealed inside the skeleton, and soon. They begin their work, not with teeth, not with jaws, but with chemistry and partnership. Take a slow breath. In the next part of our journey, we will follow what happens after the feast, when the whale's skeleton becomes the main event, when the bone itself becomes a world, when deep-sea bacteria and specialized worms turn a skeleton into an ecosystem. But for now, we remain here, in the calm darkness, near the resting whale, as life gathers slowly, quietly, patiently, around this rare gift from above. Take a slow breath. Let your body relax. Let your shoulders soften. Let your thoughts slow, like drifting particles. The deep ocean is calm, the whale fall is still, and the darkness remains gentle as the seafloor begins its quiet feast. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the whale resting on the seafloor, not as a body, but as a new piece of geography. A silent island in an ocean desert. The abyssal plain is usually sparse, food thinly scattered, life spread far apart. But the whale changes that. It concentrates energy in one place. And in the deep sea, concentration is everything. Take a slow breath. Around the whale, the water is still. The temperature remains close to freezing. The pressure is immense, steady, unchanging. And yet, the deep ocean does not feel hostile right now. It feels calm, patient, as if the ocean has seen this before and knows exactly what comes next. Take another slow breath. The first visitors arrive quietly. They do not rush in a frenzy. They approach with caution, circling slowly, testing the water, following scent. Some are fish built for darkness, with sensitive mouths and slow, efficient movements. Some are crustaceans, small and careful, walking across the soft mud. Some are hagfish, ancient scavengers, moving like living ribbons, guided by smell more than sight. Take a slow breath. They feed in stages. At first, tiny bites, small pieces, a slow beginning. Then, as more arrive, the feeding becomes steady, not loud, not chaotic, just constant, a quiet work crew in the dark. The deep sea does not celebrate. It simply uses what arrives. Take a slow breath. As days pass, the whale's body changes. Soft tissue is removed, little by little, and the seafloor around it becomes busy. In the deep sea way, slow movement, small routines, repeated again and again. Fragments drift outward, tiny scraps settle into the sediment, and those scraps become food for others. Sea stars, worms, small scavengers that were nearby, now drawn closer by opportunity. Take another slow breath. Even the mud around the whale begins to change. As nutrients spread, microbes in the sediment become more active, bacteria multiply, chemistry shifts, the seafloor becomes richer and richer, as if the whale has poured life into the ground. In the deep ocean, life often begins with microbes, quiet workers, invisible but powerful. Take a slow breath. Above the whale, marine snow continues to fall. And now it falls onto a place already rich with food. So the whale fall becomes a layered event. Food from above, and food from the whale itself, creating a rare abundance. For deep-sea creatures, this is a season. A rare season that may last for months, and then shift into years. Take a slow breath. Over time, the largest scavengers begin to leave, not because the whale is gone, but because the easiest food is gone. The soft flesh becomes thinner, harder to access, and the community changes. New visitors arrive, specialists, organisms that can use what remains. This is one of the deep sea's quiet patterns. Succession, a slow changing of who arrives and who feeds as the resource transforms. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the whale's bones. They look like pale structures resting in the mud. To many animals, bone seems useless, too hard, too sealed. But in a whale fall, bone is treasure, because whale bones contain fats, energy stored deep inside. And in the deep sea, there are creatures with a very special method for reaching that energy. They do not need speed. They do not need strength. They need time and chemistry and partnership. Take a slow breath. In the deep ocean, some organisms work with bacteria, not as enemies, but as allies. The animal provides a place to live. The bacteria provide a way to unlock food. Together, they do what neither could do alone. And this is what will happen at the whale fall, as the bones become the main course. Not quickly, not suddenly, but slowly, over years. As the deep sea continues its calm work, take a slow breath. Imagine the whale fall as a story, told in chapters. First, the arrival. Then, the scavengers. Then, the bones. Then, the long, quiet stage where microbes and specialists dominate. A whale fall is not just a meal. It is a timeline, a slow history written on the seafloor. Take a slow breath. And tonight, you do not need to follow every detail. You only need to feel the calmness of it. The ocean does not hurry. The deep sea does not rush. Everything happens in slow motion. Even great events arrive quietly and unfold patiently. Take another slow breath. If your thoughts feel active, imagine them like the whale's descent, floating, turning gently, sinking downward until they settle quietly on the seafloor. No struggle, no force. Just a soft arrival. Take a slow breath. And as the whale fall continues its quiet transformation, you can rest. You can drift. You can allow your breathing to slow, as if you are part of the deep ocean too, calm, safe, and still. Take one more slow breath and remain here in the darkness near the resting whale as life gathers softly and the deep sea continues patiently through the night. Take a slow breath. The whale rests and the ocean does what it always does. It continues quietly, patiently. Marine snow still falls, softly, endlessly, like dust in the dark. And the seafloor remains calm, cold, still, as if it is holding this moment gently. Take another slow breath around the whale. Life gathers without hurry. Small movements, soft routines, a slow feast. that will unfold in stages, and you do not need to stay awake for it. You can simply listen and drift as the deep ocean keeps its steady rhythm. Take one more slow breath and let everything slow, like the whale's long descent, like the falling snow, like your own breathing, calm, quiet, and continuous. You are still in the deep ocean where the seafloor is cold and the darkness is calm. Take a slow breath. Below you, the whale rests. A silent giant lying on the abyssal plain like an island made of bone and memory. In a world where food is scarce, this changes everything. Because the deep ocean is patient, but it is also efficient. And when a rare gift arrives, life responds. Slowly, quietly, in stages. Take another slow breath. A whale fall is not one moment. It is a process, a timeline, a long sequence of quiet events, unfolding over months, and then years, and sometimes decades. Tonight, we will drift through these stages gently, as if we are watching a slow story told in the calm language of the deep. Take a slow breath. The first stage is the arrival of scavengers. They come from far away, guided by scent. In the deep sea, smell is powerful. A chemical message spreading outward through still water, carried by slow currents. To a hungry animal, this message is unmistakable. Food, large food, rare food, take a slow breath. The early scavengers arrive first. Some are fish built for darkness, with sensitive mouth and patient movements. Some are crustaceans, walking carefully across the mud, testing the new landscape. And some are hagfish, ancient scavengers, moving like living ribbons, almost blind, but guided by scent and touch. They approach the whale as if it is terrain, not prey, but geography. A new island, a sudden continent. Take a slow breath. The feeding begins, not all at once, not as chaos, but as steady work. Small pieces are removed, then more again. The process is constant, a quiet labor, over days, over weeks. Soft tissue is stripped away, and the deep sea becomes, briefly, less empty. Take a slow breath. As the scavengers feed, they scatter fragments. Tiny scraps drift outward. Small pieces settle into the sediment, and those pieces become meals for creatures that were already nearby. Sea stars, worms, anemones, small crustaceans. The whale fall is not only a feast for the first arrivals, it is a feast for a community, spreading nutrition across the seafloor like a slow tide. Take a slow breath. This is one of the deep ocean's patterns. When food appears, it is shared, not by generosity, but by physics, because pieces drift, chemicals spread, particles settle, and the seafloor absorbs the gift. Take another slow breath. During this early stage, the water around the whale feels different, not warmer, not brighter, but richer. The chemistry changes, bacteria in the sediment respond, microbes multiply, invisible work begins deep within the mud, because microbes are always first, always present, always ready. They are quiet builders, turning death into nutrients, turning nutrients into life. Take a slow breath. As time passes, the easiest food disappears. The thick, soft tissue becomes thinner. The largest scavengers begin to leave. They move back into darkness, guided by the next scent, the next event, the next rare opportunity. And now, another stage begins, a stage that is slower, longer, and more specialized. Take a slow breath. The second stage is often called enrichment, because the seafloor around the whale becomes enriched, soaked with nutrients. The sediment is no longer ordinary. it becomes a living patch, a hotspot, in an otherwise sparse world. Small organisms move in. They do not need to be strong. They do not need to be fast. They simply need to be present and patient and ready to feed on what remains. Take a slow breath. Worms burrow into the mud. Small crustaceans graze nearby. Bacteria form thin films on surfaces like invisible velvet. This stage can last months as the deep sea continues to use every remaining scrap, and the whale, still resting, still silent, continues to feed life around it. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the whale's skeleton emerging, white structures, pale ribs, spinal bones resting in the sediment. To many animals, bone looks useless, too hard, too sealed. But in a whale fall, bone is treasure, because inside the bones there is fat, rich energy stored deep inside mineral walls. And in the deep ocean, there are specialists, creatures that exist for this moment. Take a slow breath. This brings us to the third stage, the long stage, the stage of bones and bacteria and quiet chemistry. Some organisms do not arrive for flesh. They arrive for the skeleton. They arrive for the energy locked inside. They arrive with time on their side, because time is what the deep sea has most. Take another slow breath and imagine small organisms settling onto the bones. Not dramatic, not loud, just quiet arrivals one by one, carried by currents. Some are tiny larvae, some are bacteria, some are worms that will change as they grow, transforming into specialists for life on bone. Take a slow breath. Among these specialists, there are worms that do something extraordinary. They do not need a mouth. They do not need a typical digestive system. Instead, they grow structures that enter bone like roots entering soil. They reach into the skeleton and help unlock the nutrients inside. Not with force, but with chemistry. Take a slow breath. Acid can dissolve minerals slowly. Bacteria can break down complex materials. Together, these processes turn bone into food. It is not fast, it is not dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and incredibly effective. And because whale bones are rich, this stage can last for years, sometimes decades. Imagine that. A single whale feeding an ecosystem for a long portion of a human lifetime. Take a slow breath. At this stage, the whale fall becomes something like a reef, not built of coral, but built of bones and microbial mats. Animals gather around the skeleton. Some feed directly, some feed on bacteria, some feed on other animals. A new small neighborhood form, then grows, then stabilizes, as the deep sea continues its patient work. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the scent again. Even years later, a whale fall can still release chemical signals, still attract visitors, still provide nourishment, still matter. In the deep ocean, nothing with energy is ignored, nothing rich is wasted. Take a slow breath. Sometimes, as the skeleton breaks down, the chemistry around it can become unusual. In certain whale falls, bacteria produce compounds like sulfides. This can create conditions similar to other deep-sea ecosystems, like vents or seeps, where chemical energy supports life. So a whale fall can become, briefly, a chemical oasis, a place where bacteria flourish and other organisms feed from the bacterial production. Take another slow breath. This is one of the deep ocean's quiet truths. Life does not only rely on sunlight. Life can rely on chemistry, on decay, on transformation, on the slow conversion of stored energy into new, living matter. Take a slow breath. Now, let us drift slowly around the whale fall, as if we are floating above it. We see the broad seafloor, dark, still, cold, and in the center, the pale bones. Around them, small animals moving carefully. No rushing, no panic. Only routines, only feeding, only slow survival. Take a slow breath. You might imagine small crabs walking across a rib. You might imagine worms hidden in sediment, feeding on enriched mud. You might imagine bacteria coating surfaces, creating thin films, like living paint. All of it is quiet. All of it is calm. All of it is slow. Take another slow breath. A whale fall also becomes a meeting point because it attracts animals that might otherwise rarely cross paths. In the deep sea, populations can be isolated, far apart, separated by wide, barren spaces, but a whale fall can act like a stepping stone, a point of connection, a place where larvae can settle and later spread outward. Some scientists think whale falls can even help species move across the deep ocean, like islands across a vast sea. Take a slow breath. And yet, this is not a loud, crowded city. It is a quiet village, a slow gathering, a temporary home, and eventually, even this home changes, because time continues, and the deep ocean never stops its gentle work. Take another slow breath. Years pass, the bones become thinner, fats are used, minerals dissolve, the skeleton collapses slowly into the sediment. Bacteria continue their quiet processing. The neighborhood becomes smaller, less concentrated, more like the surrounding plain again. The whale fall begins to fade, not suddenly, but gradually, like a candle burning down, until only a faint trace remains. Take a slow breath, and what remains becomes part of the seafloor. Nutrients absorbed, sediment enriched, life continued, then dispersed. The deep ocean returns to its usual state, sparse, quiet, patient. But something has changed because for years, life gathered here, fed here, grew here, and in doing so, it left subtle marks in chemistry, in microbial community, in the small life of the mud. Take another slow breath. This is the deep sea's cycle, not fast, not bright, but steady. A slow recycling of energy, a slow transformation of endings into beginnings, a quiet reminder that even in darkness, life continues. Take a slow breath. Now, let's bring this back to you. You do not need to rush tonight. You do not need to force sleep. The deep ocean does not force anything. It allows, it waits, it continues quietly. If sleep arrives, it arrives. If your mind drifts, it drifts. If thoughts appear, they can pass like particles. Take a slow breath. Imagine your thoughts like marine snow, small, light, falling gently. And if one thought feels heavy, imagine it like the whale, floating, then sinking, slowly, until it rests, quietly, on the seafloor. No struggle, no noise, just a soft descent. Take another slow breath. The whale fall is still there, quiet in the dark, feeding life in stages, and you are safe, listening, drifting, resting, while the deep ocean continues its patient work. Take one more slow breath and let everything slow, like the currents, like the falling snow, like the long whale descent, calm, quiet, and steady through the night. Take a slow breath. You are still in the deep ocean where the water is cold and the darkness feels endless. Now, imagine the whale fall again. The great body is gone, or mostly gone, and what remains is the skeleton. Pale bone, resting in dark sediment, like the ruins of a silent cathedral. In the deep sea, bone is not the end. bone is the beginning of a slower chapter, a longer chapter, a chapter that belongs to specialists, to microbes, and to the quiet chemistry of life. Take a slow breath. Whale bones hold energy. Not obvious energy, not bright, not visible, but stored. Fat trapped inside mineral walls. Nutrients locked away behind a hard barrier. For most animal, that barrier is too strong, too sealed, too difficult. But the deep ocean has creatures that do not rely on strength or speed or sharp teeth. They rely on time. They rely on chemistry. They rely on partnership. In the deep ocean, partnership is everywhere. A tiny organism helps a larger one. A bacterium becomes a tool. An animal becomes a home. Together, they do what neither could do alone. Take a slow breath. Now imagine small larvae drifting down. So small, they look like dust. They settle onto bone, quietly, gently, as if the skeleton is a new island, because it is, a new surface, a new habitat, a new place for life to begin. Some larvae become worms, specialized for whale falls. They grow slowly, they attach themselves, they transform, and then they begin their work, not with jaw, not with biting, but with root-like structures. These worms do something extraordinary. They grow into the bone, like roots into soil. They do not chew, they do not swallow, they do not hunt. They simply connect to the nutrients inside. Take a slow breath. But there is a problem. Bone is mineral, hard, dense. To reach the fat inside, the mineral must be opened. So the worms release acids, slowly, quietly, patiently. The acid dissolves tiny pathways through the bone. Microscopic tunnels opening gradually, over time. And inside those tunnels, something else lives. Bacteria. Symbiotic bacteria. Living partners inside the worm's tissues, inside its root-like network. These bacteria do the real digestion. They break down fats, they transform complex nutrients into simple compounds that the worm can absorb. The worm feed without a mouth, without a stomach, without a chase. Just chemistry and patience. Take a slow breath. And this is one of the deep ocean's strangest miracles, a creature feeding in silence through partnership around the skeleton. Other life gathers too. Not all are bone eaters. Some are opportunists. They feed on microbes. They graze on bacterial mats. They nibble on whatever drifts nearby. A whale fall becomes a small ecosystem, and the ecosystem has layers. Take a slow breath. Think of a forest. In a forest, plants form the base, then herbivores, then predators. In the deep sea, there is no sunlight. So instead, bacteria often form the base. Bacteria growing on bone, bacteria growing in sediment, bacteria growing on remaining tissue, and other creatures feed from that bacterial foundation. The skeleton can create a chemical environment. As fats break down, they can produce compounds that certain bacteria use for energy. Sometimes sulfide appears. Sometimes other chemicals become available. And suddenly, a whale fall can resemble a vent or a seep, a place where chemical energy supports life. Take a slow breath. A whale fall is not only a meal. It can be a chemical oasis, a rare patch where biology becomes busy in its slow, deep sea way. Now imagine the bones again, resting in sediment. Months pass, then years. The deep sea continues its quiet processing. Bacteria continue to work. Worms continue to feed. Small creatures come and go, and the skeleton slowly changes, breaking down, softening, collapsing, bit by bit. Take a slow breath. The deep sea is not fast. The deep sea is steady. And because it is steady, the ecosystem can last a long time. A whale fall can feed life for decades. Imagine that, one animal, after death, supporting a community for years, in complete darkness. Take a slow breath. Over that long time, the whale fall becomes a meeting point, a stepping stone. Larvae can settle there, grow, and later release new larvae that drift outward. So whale falls may connect distant populations across the abyss, like islands across a black ocean. The deep sea is wide, vast, and many habitats are far apart. But a whale fall creates a temporary bridge, a place where life can thrive, then spread. A quiet network, built from rare events. Take a slow breath. And yet, this is not a loud, crowded city. It is a quiet village, a slow gathering, a temporary home, and eventually, even this home changes because time continues and the deep ocean never stops its gentle work. Years pass, the bones become thinner, fats are used, minerals dissolve, the skeleton collapses slowly into the sediment. Bacteria continue their quiet processing. The neighborhood becomes smaller, less concentrated, more like the surrounding plain again. The whale fall begins to fade, not suddenly, but gradually, like a candle burning down until only a faint trace remains. Take a slow breath, and what remains becomes part of the sea floor. Nutrients absorbed, sediment enriched, life continued, then dispersed. The deep ocean returns to its usual state, sparse, quiet, patient. But something has changed because for years, life gathered here, fed here, grew here. And in doing so, it left subtle marks in chemistry, in microbial communities, in the small life of the mud. Take a slow breath. This is the deep sea's cycle, not fast, not bright, but steady. A slow recycling of energy, a slow transformation of endings into beginnings. A quiet reminder that even in darkness, life continues. Take a slow breath. Now, let's bring this back to you. You do not need to rush tonight. You do not need to force sleep. The deep ocean does not force anything. It allows, it waits, it continues quietly. If sleep arrives, it arrives. If your mind drifts, it drifts. If thoughts appear, they can pass like particles. Take a slow breath. Imagine your thoughts like marine snow, small, light, falling gently. And if one thought feels heavy, imagine it like the whale, floating, then sinking, slowly, until it rests, quietly, on the seafloor. Take a slow breath. The skeleton remains below, quiet, patient, feeding the deep sea, slowly, as the ocean holds everything, calm, still, and safe. Take one more slow breath, and let the deep ocean continue while you rest. Slowly, gently, quietly, through the night. Take a slow breath. The skeleton remains below, quiet, pale, resting in cold sediment. And around it, the deep ocean continues its slow work. In the deep sea, a whale fall becomes a kind of reef. Not built from coral, but built from bone, bacteria, and time. A place where small life gathers because the surrounding seafloor is so empty. And this place is different, richer, more active, more alive. Thin films of bacteria begin to coat the bone. They grow like invisible velvet. They do not need sunlight. They need chemistry. They need nutrients. And the skeleton provides both. Small grazers arrive, not to eat bone, but to eat what grows on it. They move slowly across surfaces, feeding gently, then stopping, then feeding again. In the deep ocean, even eating can look like resting. Months pass, then more months, and the whale fall remains. The richest soft tissue is gone, but the long stage has begun, the stage of slow unlocking, the stage of partnership, the stage where microbes do most of the work. Some worms remain connected to the bone through root-like structures. Inside those roots, bacteria break down fats, turning dense energy into simple nourishment. The worm absorbs what it needs, quietly, steadily, without hurry. This partnership is one of nature's calmest solutions. The worm provides a home, the bacteria provide digestion. Together, they turn bone into life. In the sediment around the whale fall, chemistry continues to change. Nutrients seep outward. Microbes in the mud become more active. A patch of seafloor becomes enriched, like soil after a long rain, and that enrichment attracts more life. Small worms burrow nearby. Tiny crustaceans graze. Sea stars may visit, not in crowds, but in slow, scattered arrivals. A whale fall does not create a noisy city. It creates a quiet neighborhood. And because the deep sea is so wide, quiet neighborhoods like this matter. They become stepping stones, a place where larvae can settle, grow, and later release new larvae that drift outward again. So a whale fall may connect distant deep-sea populations like islands across a dark ocean. Not quickly, not in one journey, but slowly, over generations, through steady repetition. Years can pass, and the whale fall can still be feeding life. That is the deep sea's pace. Slow, patient, persistent. Imagine the bones years later, thinner now, some cracked, some collapsed into the mud. The shape is changing, but the chemistry is still there. The memory is still there. In the sediment, in microbial communities, in small animals that continue to visit. In the deep ocean, memory is often chemical, a slightly richer patch of mud, a subtle layer of carbon, a small difference that lasts longer than you would expect. And slowly, the whale fall begins to fade, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually. As nutrients are used, as bones break down, as the enriched patch becomes less concentrated, the neighborhood becomes quieter again, more like the surrounding plain. But even as it fades, it has already done its work. It has fed life, it has supported growth, it has changed chemistry, it has connected habitats, it has turned one ending into many beginnings. Take a slow breath, and now, let that thought soften. You do not need to hold it tightly. Let it drift, let it settle, like sediment, like marine snow. If your mind is still awake, imagine your thoughts becoming lighter, then quieter, then still, not forced, not rushed, just gradual. The deep ocean teaches a simple lesson. Everything changes, but slowly. Everything continues, but quietly. Everything survives by patience. Imagine yourself floating above the seafloor, safe, calm, and still. The darkness is gentle. The pressure is steady. The ocean holds you without effort. Take a slow breath, and as you rest, the deep sea continues its quiet rhythm. Currents moving softly, particles drifting, microbes working invisibly, life adapting patiently in the darkness below. Take one more slow breath and let everything slow as the ocean continues quietly through the night. Take a slow breath. You are still in the deep ocean, where the water is cold and the darkness is calm. Tonight, we drift toward a place that feels unusual, a place where life does not rely on sunlight, but on the Earth itself. Far below the seafloor, the planet is not silent. Beneath rock, beneath sediment, beneath cold darkness, there is heat, pressure, and slow movement. In a few places, that hidden energy escapes. It rises through cracks, through fractures, through seams in the crust, and when it meets the ocean, creates something extraordinary. Hydrothermal vents. Imagine the sea floor, flat and cold, and then a chimney-like structure rising from the mud. From the opening, a dark plume spreads into the water. Not smoke, but mineral-rich fluid, heated deep inside the earth. The fluid is extremely hot, yet here, under immense pressure, it does not boil. It rises, meets the cold ocean, and minerals begin to fall out, like fine dark dust drifting slowly through the water. Take a slow breath. At first, it seems too harsh for life. Heat, toxic chemicals, crushing pressure, and complete darkness. But the deep ocean does not follow our expectations, because life here begins with something small, something quiet, microbes. Bacteria gather around vents, forming thin mats on rock, soft film coating surfaces like invisible velvet. They do not need sunlight, they use chemistry, they take compounds released from the earth and they transform them. They build energy and then they build living matter. This process is called chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is like photosynthesis, but with different fuel. Plants use light. These microbes use chemicals, and the result is similar. New organic material, new life, built in darkness. Take another slow breath. Once microbes create the base, other life can gather. Shrimp, crabs, clams, worms, creatures that would struggle on the open abyssal plain, now finding food at a chemical oasis. The vent becomes a small neighborhood, built in the quiet, not loud, not crowded, but active in a gentle way. Animals move carefully. They feed, then rest. They feed again, then rest again, because even here, energy is precious. Near a vent, life often lives in gradients. Too close, and the heat can be deadly. Too far, and the chemical food becomes weaker. So the animals settle in a narrow band, where conditions feel just right. Warm enough, rich enough, but not overwhelming. Take a slow breath. Some vent animals do not simply eat bacteria, they carry bacteria inside their bodies, in special tissues. A partnership. The animal provides shelter. The microbes provide food. Together, they survive in a world without light. Imagine a tall tube worm anchored to rock. It has no mouth, no teeth, no ordinary digestive system, and yet it grows. Because inside it, microbes do the work. They take chemical and turn them into nourishment, feeding the worm from within. The worm becomes a living home for a living kitchen. Take another slow breath. In the deep ocean, cooperation can be stronger than speed. Partnership can be stronger than force. Quiet solutions can be the most successful. Hydrothermal vents do not last forever. They can shift, they can cool, they can stop. As the earth changes beneath them, the flow changes too. And when that happens, the community changes. Some life fades, some moves away, and elsewhere, new vents may appear. The deep ocean adapts, slowly, patiently, again and again. Take a slow breath. Now drift a little farther, away from the hottest water, toward another kind of chemical habitat. Cold seeps. Cold seeps are not hot. They do not erupt. They leak, slowly, steadily. Methane and other fluids seep out of the seabed like a slow exhale from the earth. It is gentle, almost quiet, but chemically, it can be powerful. because microbes gather here too. They use methane and other compounds to create energy. And again, life builds upward from microbes. Take another slow breath. Cold seep communities can be stable for long periods, long enough for slow-growing animals to establish themselves. Clams may settle in place, filtering, feeding, year after year. Worms can form clusters, each one hosting microbes inside. The ecosystem becomes a calm, steady presence in the deep sea's darkness. If hydrothermal vents feel like sudden chimneys, cold seeps feel like quiet springs, not dramatic, not violent, just a slow, steady release, supporting life over time. Take a slow breath. Now imagine drifting above the seabed and seeing subtle signs of life, a few clams, a few worms, a thin microbial film, nothing flashy, nothing loud, but life is present because chemistry is present, because the earth is providing fuel. The deep ocean teaches a surprising lesson. Sunlight is not the only foundation for ecosystems. Life can begin with chemistry, with minerals, with invisible microbes, quietly transforming compounds into living matter. Take another slow breath, and tonight, you can let your mind follow this slow pattern. You do not need to force anything. You can allow thoughts to rise, then fade, like a plume dissolving into cold water. A thought appears, then thins, then disappears. Imagine the vent plume again, rising in darkness, then fading into calm, steady motion, gentle change, nothing sudden, nothing sharp. Take a slow breath. Around vents and seeps, animals live with careful routines. They move slowly, they feed, they rest, they conserve, they survive. And beyond these oases, the abyss returns, cold, dark, still, but never truly empty, because life in the deep ocean is built on patience. If you feel awake, let your body soften. Relax your shoulders, release your jaw, slow your breathing. Let the ocean's steadiness become your steadiness. Let the deep sea's calm become your calm. Take another slow breath, and as you continue to drift, imagine the seafloor below, quiet, endless, with small pockets of life, where chemistry supports a hidden community, a calm world built without light, built with patience, built with time. The ocean remains steady. The earth continues its slow work, and you can rest within this rhythm, quietly, gently, through the night. Take one more slow breath and let everything slow. As the deep ocean continues, calm, still, and safe. Take a slow breath. We remain near the deep sea floor, where the ocean is quiet and everything feels steady. The vents and seeps are not everywhere. They are rare, small pockets of chemical energy in a vast, dark world. And because they are rare, they become important. They become meeting points, they become islands. Imagine drifting slowly across the abyss for a long time, over cold mud, over soft sediment, over a seafloor that feels almost endless most of the time. There is only marine snow, falling gently, and life scattered far apart. But then, in the distance, a new texture appears, a different shape, a gentle rise, a patch where the seafloor looks less empty. Not crowded, but changed. Take a slow breath. A chemical habitat does not need to be loud. It does not need to explode with motion. It only needs to provide a steady source of energy. And in the deep ocean, steady energy is a miracle. So the community forms slowly, then stabilizes, then lasts. Some animals arrive as tiny larvae. They drift for days, sometimes weeks, until they find the right place. A suitable surface, a chemical signal, a thin microbial film. Then they settle, and they begin their slow life. Take a slow breath. At vents, the chemistry can be intense. Hot fluid meets cold seawater. Minerals form, surfaces change. And the animals that live here often live with careful boundaries. They do not sit directly in the hottest flow. They live near it. They move in and out of warmth. They rest. They feed. They adjust. At cold seeps, the pace can be gentler, a slow release, a steady leak. And because it is steady, the habitat can become stable for a long time, long enough for slow-growing organisms to grow, to mature, to anchor, to form clusters. Take a slow breath. The foundation remains the same. Microbes, invisible workers. They harvest chemical energy and build organic matter without sunlight, without leaves, without green plants. Just chemistry turning into life. Some microbes live on rock surfaces, some live in sediment, some live inside animals, and the animals that host them become living partnerships. A calm exchange, shelter for food, protection for nourishment. Take a slow breath. Imagine a clam resting in the sediment. It seems still, almost asleep, but inside it is working slowly, filtering, feeding, and in some species, microbes inside its tissues help convert chemicals into energy. The clam becomes a quiet home for invisible allies. Imagine a worm cluster nearby. Thin tubes rising from the seafloor like a small field, each worm anchored, each worm steady, each worm alive because microbes inside it are working, not quickly, not dramatically, just continuously. Take a slow breath. This is the deep ocean's style, continuous, quiet, patient. The surface world can feel noisy, fast, always changing, but here, change is slow, so life becomes slow. And that slowness can feel peaceful. Now imagine the vent plume again, a soft, dark cloud rising into black water. It spreads, it thins, it disappears. The motion is gentle, like ink dissolving. And around the plume, animals move carefully, as if they are listening to the chemistry. Take a slow breath. Even predators near vents and seeps often move slowly. They do not waste energy. They take opportunities when they appear. A small meal, a drifting organism, a quiet chance. Then they rest, because resting is part of survival. And beyond the vent field, the abyss returns, cold, dark, still. But now, the memory of the vent remains, a reminder that life can begin in more than one way. Take a slow breath. The deep sea is full of boundaries, light above, dark below. Warmth near vents, cold everywhere else. Chemistry in small patches, scarcity across the plains. And life learns to live at the edges of these boundaries because edges create opportunity. A gradient, a balance, a narrow zone where survival is possible. Imagine drifting along one of these gradients, not too close, not too far, just in the calm middle, where the water feels steady, where the environment feels predictable, where the mind can relax. Take a slow breath. If your thoughts feel busy, you can treat them like the deep ocean treats change. Slowly, gently, one thought at a time. Let a thought appear, then let it thin, then let it fade, like a plume dissolving into cold water. Another thought may appear. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to fight it. You can let it drift. You can let it pass. Take a slow breath. The ocean's calm is a rhythm, steady pressure, steady cold, steady darkness. And within that rhythm, small pockets of life continue. Microbes keep building. Animals keep feeding. Communities keep enduring, all without sunlight, all without noise. Now imagine leaving the vent field slowly, drifting outward until the plume is gone, until the last signs of the oasis fade, and you are back above the abyssal plain, where marine snow falls again, softly, endlessly, quietly, through the dark water. Take a slow breath. In this moment, you do not need to go anywhere. You can simply drift. You can let your breathing slow. You can let the ocean's steadiness hold you like a gentle weight, like a calm blanket. The deep ocean continues. The earth continues its slow work below. Chemistry continues to rise in hidden places. Microbes continue to transform it. Life continues to adapt. Patiently, quietly, steadily. Take one more slow breath.
Take one more slow breath and let everything soften as you rest in the calm darkness while the deep ocean continues through the night.
Take a slow breath. We leave the vents behind and drift into colder water again. Out here, there is no warm plume, no chemical oasis close by. Only the deep ocean's steady truth, cold, dark, and quiet. The abyss is often close to freezing. Not dramatic freezing, not sharp, but a constant, patient cold, a cold that never rushes, a cold that simply remains. Take another slow breath. Cold changes everything. It changes how muscles move. It changes how fast digestion happens. It changes how quickly an animal can grow. It changes how fast an animal can think in the biological sense. In cold water, metabolism slows. Energy is used more carefully. And for many deep-sea creatures, this slow pace is not a weakness, it is a strategy. Imagine a creature moving across the seafloor. It does not sprint, it does not chase, it crawls, it pauses, it crawls again, as if each movement is measured and chosen. Take a slow breath. In the deep ocean, being slow can be safer, because food is rare and energy is precious. If you burn energy quickly, you may not find enough food to replace it. But if you move slowly, if you rest often, you can survive on very little. And in some parts of the ocean, cold does something else, something unexpected. It can create giants. Take another slow breath. There is a pattern in nature, seen in the coldest waters. Some animals become much larger than their relatives in warmer seas. This is sometimes called polar gigantism. In cold oceans, you can find oversized creatures, large crustaceans, huge isopods, massive sea spiders, slow giants moving through darkness. Take a slow breath. Why would cold create giants? Part of the answer is time. Cold slows metabolism, and slower metabolism can mean slower aging, longer life, more time to grow. Another part of the answer is oxygen. Cold water can hold more dissolved oxygen than warm water, and oxygen is life's fuel. When oxygen is abundant, larger bodies become possible. Imagine a large creature breathing. Each movement of water across its gills brings oxygen in. In cold water, there is often more oxygen available, so the animal can afford a larger body, a slower pace, a longer life. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the deep sea as a place of long lifespans. Some animals may live for decades, some for centuries. They do not need to rush. They do not need to grow quickly. They have time, and time creates a different kind of life. A life that is calm, a life that is patient, a life that survives by endurance. Take another slow breath. The deep ocean does not reward panic. It rewards consistency. Small meals, slow movement, long rest. gentle survival. If your mind feels busy tonight, let it borrow this deep sea lesson. You do not need to hurry. You can slow down. You can let thoughts drift, then fade, like marine snow in darkness. Take a slow breath. As we drift through the cold, imagine the water around you, still, quiet, unchanging, a calm space, a steady space, a space where nothing demands your attention. And far below, cold life continues, slowly, patiently, quietly. Take a slow breath. Now we drift closer to the idea of giants. Not giants in a loud, dramatic way, but giants that move slowly, as if they have learned that the ocean will wait for them. Imagine a giant isopod, a crustacean shaped like armor. It moves across the seafloor, heavy, steady, unhurried. In warmer water, its relatives are smaller, but in colder depths, it grows larger, as if the cold itself allows it. Take another slow breath. Imagine a sea spider, not the small kind you might picture, but a cold water giant. Long legs, slow movements, a body built for a world where oxygen can be rich and time can be long. In the deep ocean, large bodies can also help in another way. A larger body holds heat longer. A larger body can store energy longer. A larger body can travel farther between meals. But in the cold, everything is still balanced carefully, because a larger body also needs more food. So the cold giants are not wasteful. They move slowly, they conserve energy. They are built for endurance. Take a slow breath. Now imagine another deep-sea giant, the Greenland shark. A large, slow-moving shark living in cold northern waters. It grows slowly. It moves slowly. And it may live for centuries. Centuries. A creature gliding through dark water, while generations of humans come and go. It is hard to imagine. But the ocean is full of timescales that do not match ours. Take another slow breath. A long life changes behavior. A long life reduces urgency. A long life makes patience possible. And patience is one of the deep ocean's greatest tools. Now imagine the cold water again, carrying oxygen, steady and invisible. Oxygen enters gills. Oxygen enters tissues. Oxygen powers slow movement. In cold water, oxygen can be a little more generous. And that generosity allows life to stretch, to grow, to become larger, to become slower, without failing. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the deep sea as a world of steady breathing, not fast breaths, not panicked breaths, slow breaths, gentle breaths, a rhythm that matches the darkness. And as you listen, let your breathing slow too, in and out, softly, quietly, without effort. Take another slow breath. Cold giants are not monsters. They are not aggressive symbols. They are simply animals built for a certain world. A world of cold, a world of darkness, a world of slow energy. And when you picture them, picture calm, picture steadiness, picture slow movement across soft sediment, like a dream. If a thought appears, let it drift. If a worry appears, let it soften. The deep ocean does not fight the cold, it adapts to it. And you can adapt to rest by slowing down. Take a slow breath. The giants continue their slow lives, and the ocean continues its steady rhythm, quiet, patient, unchanging, through the night. Take a slow breath. Cold creates giants, but cold also creates danger, because cold can freeze, and freezing can destroy living tissue. Ice crystals can form, expand, and damage cells, so in the coldest waters, life needs protection. Take another slow breath. Some polar fish survive with a quiet chemical trick. They create antifreeze-like molecules, not loud, not dramatic, just small proteins, circulating through the body, binding to tiny ice crystals and preventing them from growing. Imagine that. A fish swimming in near freezing water, protected by chemistry, as if the blood itself has learned how to stay fluid. Take a slow breath. This kind of adaptation is not about strength, it is about precision, a microscopic solution to a lethal problem. And in the deep ocean, many solutions are microscopic because pressure, cold, and darkness challenge life at the level of proteins and membranes. So life answers with molecules, with fats arranged differently, with proteins stabilized, with chemistry that keeps cells flexible, even under stress. Take another slow breath. Now imagine a cold water fish with slow movement. It does not rush. It does not waste energy. It relies on oxygen-rich cold water and on special chemistry to keep its body working. In some polar seas, certain fish have unusual blood traits and unusual breathing surfaces. Some rely more on diffusion, some have large gills, some have skin that helps exchange gases. In cold water, where oxygen can be high, these strategies become possible. Take a slow breath. None of this is loud, none of this is fast. It is quiet survival. It is careful biology. It is the deep ocean's style. Now bring your focus back to yourself. Your body does not need to do anything right now. You do not need to solve problems. You do not need to hurry. You can simply breathe. Take a slow breath, in and out, slowly, gently, like a current. Imagine your thoughts like particles, small, light, drifting downward, then settling. If a thought return, let it return, then let it drift again. No effort, no struggle. Take another slow breath. Cold water life survives with patience and with small invisible tools, and you can rest with the same idea. Small breaths, small relaxations, small releases of tension. The ocean remains cold, dark, and calm. The giants continue, the antifreeze chemistry continues, the deep sea continues, and you can sleep. Within this steady rhythm, quietly, gently, through the night, take a slow breath. We drift across the deep seafloor, where the water is cold and the darkness is calm. Out here, the ocean feels steady, predictable, quiet. But in a few hidden places, the seafloor holds something strange, something that looks like a lake beneath the ocean. These places are called brine pools. Sometimes people call them death lakes because the water inside is so salty, so dense, and so different that crossing the boundary can be dangerous. Take another slow breath. Imagine the seafloor ahead, a flat stretch of mud, then a shimmering edge, like a shoreline, like a boundary drawn in glass. The brine is heavier than seawater, so it settles into a basin and stays there, not mixing, not blending, just resting, a hidden lake in permanent darkness. The brine can be many times saltier than the ocean around it. It can also be low in oxygen, and sometimes it contains chemicals that can harm living tissue. So for many creatures, entering a brine pool is a mistake. Take a slow breath. Along the edge, life can still exist. Because edges are where the deep ocean often becomes interesting, a boundary creates contrast, and contrast creates opportunity. Microbes may thrive along the margins using chemicals from the brine, And where microbes grow, other creatures can gather. Imagine a thin band of life near the edge, not crowded, not loud, but present. Small animals moving slowly, feeding carefully, living close, but not too close, to the dangerous water. Take another slow breath. The brine pool itself can be still. So still that it can preserve what falls in. Bodies may remain intact for a long time. In the deep ocean, cold temperatures and low oxygen already slow decay. But brine can slow it even more. It can hold a strange stillness, like a quiet trap. Now imagine a creature approaching. It senses food, it senses opportunity. The deep sea does not offer many chances, so curiosity can become risk. It moves closer. It crosses the edge, and in that moment, the environment changes. Take a slow breath. Salt pulls water out of cells. Chemistry shifts. Oxygen can drop. The body struggles. Movement becomes clumsy. And what seemed like a meal becomes danger. In the deep ocean, the many threats are not teeth. They are not claws. They are chemistry, invisible forces, osmosis, toxins, low oxygen, pressure, cold. These are the deep sea's real challenges. Take a slow breath. And yet, nature sometimes finds rare survivors. A few species may tolerate low oxygen. Some can handle chemical stress for short periods. They approach the boundary, take what they need, and retreat. Step in, step out, carefully. This is the deep sea's style again. Not rush, not excitement, just cautious movement, measured decisions, energy saved, risk managed. Take another slow breath. The brine pools remind us of something. Even in the ocean, there can be places that behave like separate worlds. Different chemistry, different rules. A boundary that feels like a wall, even though it is only water. And tonight, you can let that idea become calming, because boundaries can also mean safety. You are here, you are listening, you are not crossing any dangerous edges, you are simply drifting. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders soften, let your breathing slow. Imagine the brine pool below, still and heavy, while the surrounding ocean remains calm and you float gently above it, safe, quiet, and steady in the darkness. Take a slow breath. We remain near the brine pool's edge, where the deep ocean becomes a place of contrast, a boundary between normal seawater and hypersaline brine. In many deep-sea habitats, life depends on small advantages. A bit more food, a bit more chemical energy, a surface where microbes can grow, a pocket where nutrients collect. And brine pool edges can provide these things. Take another slow breath. Microbes often arrive first, and they form mats, thin films, soft layers, and they use the chemistry available and turn it into energy. Sometimes, and the chemistry comes from gas seeping through the seabed. Sometimes, from minerals dissolving into the brine. Sometimes, from compounds that would seem toxic in another context. But microbes are specialists in extremes. They are quiet engineers. They make the first step possible, and once the first step exists, other life can follow. Take a slow breath along the edge. You might find small animals feeding on microbial growth. They move slowly, grazing in tiny bites, then resting, then grazing again. In the deep sea, even feeding can look like meditation. Small actions, long pauses, no hurry, and still. The boundary remains dangerous, so many animals approach carefully, and they do not plunge into the brine, and they remain near the margin, because the margin is where the balance exists. Not too harsh, not too empty, a narrow band of survival. Take another slow breath. The deep ocean often creates these narrow bands. The vent community lives where heat is not too much. The seep community lives where chemistry is steady. The brine edge community lives where salt is not overwhelming. Life finds the thin line where conditions become possible. Imagine a creature that can tolerate stress for a short time. It approaches the brine. It enters just a little. It takes a quick meal. Then it retreats, like a diver holding breath. Step in, step out. Again and again, take a slow breath. Sometimes the deep sea rewards such bravery, and because preserved bodies within brine pools can become food sources, a strange pantry, kept cold and still. But to access it, a creature must tolerate the boundary, so a few rare animals may specialize in this. Yet, most of the deep sea survives by avoiding extremes, by choosing the calm path, by staying in the safe band, and that safe band is where much of life gathers. Take another slow breath. Now, Bice, let's begin to notice another force on that grows stronger the deeper we travel. It is always present, but it becomes more powerful. With every meter, pressure. Pressure is not felt like pain. When you are adapted, it is felt as a steady squeeze, a constant weight, a force that shapes biology. Take a slow breath. At the surface, pressure is mild. At 1,000 meters, it is enormous. At 6,000, it becomes extreme. And as we begin our descent toward those depths, pressure will become one of the ocean's greatest challenges. But pressure is quiet. It has no sound, no color, no warning. It simply increases steadily, patiently. Take a slow breath. Pressure affects the smallest parts of life. Proteins can change shape, membranes can stiffen, chemical reactions can slow. Cells must remain flexible, stable, functional, even when squeezed. So life adapts with chemistry, with fats arranged differently, with stabilizing compounds inside cells, with bodies designed to avoid air pockets, soft tissues, flexible forms. Take another slow breath. The brine pool edge and the rising pressure both remind us of the deep sea's nature. The deepest threats are often invisible: chemistry, osmosis, pressure, cold, and yet life continues by adapting, by choosing the safe line, by moving slowly. Take a slow breath. Let your breathing slow too. In and out, softly. Imagine the boundary behind you now, the brine pool fading into darkness, and ahead, the deeper ocean waiting, quiet, steady, as pressure slowly increases, and the world becomes even more still. Take a slow breath. Now we drift away from the brine pools and down into deeper water. The ocean feels heavier here, not in a scary way, but in a steady way, a calm weight, a constant presence. This is pressure. Take another slow breath. Pressure increases the deeper you go because there is more water above you, more weight, more force. At a few hundred meters, pressure is already strong. At a few thousand, it becomes intense and deeper still. It reaches levels that are hard to imagine. In such pressure, air-filled spaces become dangerous. Any trapped gas would compress, so deep sea animals often avoid gas pockets, and they do not have lungs like land animals, and they do not have big air cavities, and they are built for water, soft bodies, flexible tissues. Take a slow breath. Some deep sea creatures seem almost gelatinous, not because they are weak, but because softness is safe under pressure. Hard shells can crack, rigid structures can fail, but soft tissue can bend and endure. Pressure also changes chemistry. Proteins must keep their shape. Enzymes must keep working. Membranes must stay flexible. So deep sea life often adjusts the fats in cell membranes, keeping them from becoming too rigid, a subtle molecular trick that makes survival possible. Take another slow breath. As we drift deeper, we imagine how quiet it becomes. No waves, no storms, no surface noise, only still water and steady pressure. The deep ocean's pressure is constant. It does not spike. It does not jump. It simply increases meter by meter as you descend. And that steadiness can feel calming because it is predictable. It does not surprise you. It is always the same kind of force, just more of it. Take a slow breath. Now imagine a creature drifting in deep water. It does not fight the pressure. It belongs to it. Its body is mostly water. Its tissues are flexible. It moves slowly and wastes nothing. A life designed for quiet endurance. And as you listen, you can mirror this deep sea calm. You do not need to resist thoughts. You do not need to chase sleep. You can simply allow the mind to soften. Allow the breathing to slow. Allow the body to rest, as if you are drifting in dark water, held gently by steady pressure. Take another slow breath. Pressure is not loud, it is not dramatic, but it shapes the deep sea. It sets limits. It creates strange forms. It pushes life towards softness, toward chemistry, toward careful balance. And, in the next parts, we will descend even deeper toward trenches, toward the Hadal zone, where pressure becomes the dominant reality. But for now, we remain here, in the calm deep. Pressure increasing, slowly, gently, predictably. The ocean steady, the darkness soft, and you safe, drifting, resting, as the deep sea continues, quietly, through the night. Take a slow breath. We continue to descend, past familiar depths, into a part of the ocean that feels like a different world. The water is colder, the darkness is deeper, and the pressure is heavier than ever. There are places on Earth where the seafloor does not stay flat. It breaks, it folds, it drops into long, narrow valleys, like scars in the planet's surface. These are the ocean trenches. Take another slow breath. A trench is not a cave. It is not a hole. It is a vast, open structure, a deep canyon, carved not by water currents, but by the movement of Earth's crust. Slow geology, pulling the seafloor downward. Imagine drifting above a trench edge. The seafloor falls away, and the darkness seems to deepen instantly. The slope is steep, the space is enormous, and the trench continues down, down, into black water. Take a slow breath. These depths are part of what scientists call the Hadal zone, named after the underworld of myth, a name that fits, not because it is evil, but because it is extreme and hidden and far from sunlight. At these depths, pressure becomes the main reality, not a feeling, but a force. A steady squeeze, present in every moment. Every meter deeper adds more weight above you. Take another slow breath. In a trench, life cannot be built the same way as at the surface. Air pockets cannot exist. Hard, brittle structures are risky. So many trench creatures are soft, flexible, and often pale, almost translucent. They move slowly, and as if the ocean itself is holding them in place. Imagine a soft-bodied animal drifting in the dark. Its body yields slightly with the pressure, not collapsing, because it contains no trapped gas. It is mostly water, flexible tissue, a design that matches the environment. Take a slow breath. The Hadal zone is not empty, but life here is specialized. Not many kinds, but in places, an abundance of a few kinds. Small scavengers, tiny crustaceans, worms, microbes, creatures that can tolerate pressure and live on the food that gathers in trenches. Because trenches collect, they are like long valleys. And in valleys, materials settle. Marine snow falls everywhere. But in trenches, some of it accumulates. Slowly, over time, more particles may gather along the trench axis, creating a slightly richer line of food. Take a slow breath. So in the Hadal zone, life often follows the shape of the land, not by sight, but by chemistry, by where food becomes slightly more available, by where sediment holds nutrients, by where microbes can work. Imagine the trench floor, a narrow world of cold mud, with drifting particles settling softly. A place where small animals can find food. Not abundant food, but enough. Take a slow breath. The trench feels isolated. The walls rise steeply. The water above is deep. And yet, the trench is connected to the rest of the ocean. Currents move slowly through it. Particles fall into it. Life arrives as larvae, drifting from far away, settling when conditions allow. In the Hadal zone, everything happens slowly. Arrival is slow, growth is slow, change is slow, and that slowness can feel calming. Take another slow breath. If your thoughts are active, let them slow too. Imagine them drifting down the trench, settling, becoming quieter. No effort, no struggle, just a slow descent. We are now near the trench edge, looking down into the deep. And as we continue, pressure will increase even more. But for now, the ocean remains calm. Darkness remains soft, and you remain safe, drifting gently into the Hadal world. Take a slow breath, drift deeper, and pressure becomes harder to ignore. At these depths, pressure is not a concept, it is a condition, a steady force pressing on everything. Pressure affects life at the smallest level. Proteins must keep their shape. Enzymes must keep working. Membranes must stay flexible. So cells can function. In high pressure, these systems can struggle unless biology adjusts. Take a slow breath. So trench life adapts with chemistry. Some animals produce stabilizing compounds, molecules that protect proteins, helping them resist pressure's squeeze. Others adjust the fats in their membranes, keeping them flexible in cold water and under heavy pressure. These are invisible adaptations, but essential. Imagine a small trench creature, a soft scavenger, moving across the mud. It looks simple, quiet, almost delicate. But inside its cells, chemistry is working constantly, maintaining balance, keeping life possible. Take a slow breath. Many trench animals are soft for another reason. Soft tissue does not crack. It does not shatter. It bends. It yields. It survives. Hard shells can be risky. Air spaces are impossible. So, softness becomes strength. Now imagine a gelatinous animal drifting above the trench floor. It moves with a slow rhythm, almost like breathing. It does not fight the water. It does not resist the pressure. It belongs to the environment. Take a slow breath. Food is still scarce in trenches. Even if they collect particles, the overall supply is limited. So, trench creatures often have careful lifestyles. They feed when they can. They rest often. They move only when necessary. Because movement costs energy, and energy is limited. Imagine a tiny crustacean, an amphipod, moving through sediment. It searches for food, a small fragment, a tiny particle, a trace of organic matter. It finds it and feeds. Then it waits again. Take a slow breath. In places where fish are fewer, small scavengers can become more abundant because predation pressure changes. The food web becomes different, but not empty, just rearranged. Microbes also play a large role here. In deep sediment, microbes continue to break down organic matter. They recycle nutrients. They support the smallest levels of the food chain. In trenches, microbial life can be strong, especially where food accumulates. Take a slow breath. The Hadal zone can be a kingdom of the small, not because small is weak, but because small can be efficient. Small bodies require less food. Small bodies can survive on thin supplies. Small bodies can fit into sediment, where nutrients collect, and pressure, while immense, can be met with the right chemistry. Take another slow breath. Think of trench life as a quiet engineering solution. Soft bodies, flexible membranes, stable proteins, slow metabolism, careful movement, all tuned to one environment, all tuned to one truth. Pressure is constant, so life becomes constant too. Steady, quiet, patient, and as you listen, you can become steady as well. Your breathing slows, your shoulders soften, your mind becomes quieter, like the trench floor, cold, dark, still, safe. We continue deeper, and the trench becomes more isolated, but life remains, quietly, persistently, in the darkness. Take a slow breath. Now imagine that we have reached the trench floor, the deepest corridor of the landscape. Above, the trench walls rise steeply. Around, darkness stretches in every direction. And beneath, there is cold mud, fine sediment, and slowly settling particles. The trench floor may look empty, but it is not. It is a quiet kingdom, a world where small creatures thrive, and where survival is built on patience. Take another slow breath. Food arrives in slow ways. Marine snow falling from above, occasional larger falls, a dead animal drifting down, fragments carried by currents, And because the trench is like a valley, some of this material accumulates, and not as abundance, but as a slight advantage, enough to support a community. Imagine an amphipod again, moving across the sediment. It is a scavenger, a recycler, a small creature in a huge world. It does not need much. It needs only enough. Take a slow breath. In the deepest places, fish become rarer. Not absent everywhere, but fewer. And in that space, small scavengers may have room to flourish. They move in groups sometimes, feeding when food arrives, then dispersing, then returning. A quiet cycle. Microbes remain the foundation. In sediment, microbes process what falls. They break down organic matter. They recycle nutrients. They support the deep sea from below. Invisible workers in a world without light. Take another slow breath. The trench floor can also hold mysteries. A single-celled organism can be large. A microbial community can be dense. A small animal can be surprisingly abundant. The deep ocean often surprises us, not with monsters, but with persistence, with life continuing where it seems unlikely. Now imagine the calmness of the trench. No storms, no waves, no surface noise, only still water, only steady pressure, only the slow rhythm of falling particles. Take a slow breath and let your thoughts follow the same rhythm. If a thought comes, let it come. If it fades, let it fade. Like particles settling, like sediment becoming smooth. We will continue deeper later, toward the deepest parts of the trenches and toward the boundaries of fish survival. But for now, we remain in this quiet kingdom where life is small, pressure is immense, and everything moves slowly, patiently, in the dark. Take one more slow breath and let the calm continue. Quietly. Through the night, take a slow breath. We are still drifting in the deepest ocean, where darkness is complete and pressure is steady. In this world, life is shaped by forces you cannot see. Not waves, not wind, but chemistry. Pressure changes how molecules behave. It can push proteins out of shape. It can make cell membranes stiffer. It can slow reactions that life depends on. So for an animal to survive here, its body must protect the smallest machinery inside it. Take another slow breath. Some deep living animals use stabilizing compounds, molecules that help proteins stay folded, molecules that help cells continue their quiet work. These compounds are not dramatic. They are simply present in every cell, all the time. And the deeper an animal lives, the more protection it may need. Take a slow breath. Now imagine a fish living deeper and deeper, gradually moving down into heavier pressure. As it descends, its body must adjust. It cannot change the pressure outside, so it changes the chemistry inside. It produces more stabilizing molecules to keep proteins working. This is one of the deep ocean's trade-offs. Protection has a cost. Take another slow breath. In many deep sea fish, one stabilizing compound becomes more and more important. It helps protect proteins under pressure. It helps keep cells functioning. It allows a fish to live deeper where most creatures cannot. But as the amount increases, something else changes, and the internal chemistry becomes different, and the body becomes, in a way, saltier. Take a slow breath. In the ocean, salt balance matters. Water naturally moves towards salt. This is a quiet rule of life, and it never stops. So fish must constantly manage where water goes, in and out of their bodies. At the surface, they already work hard to maintain balance. They pump salts, conserve water, they manage osmosis. It is an invisible job, but it is constant. Take another slow breath. Now imagine what happens as a fish goes deeper. It needs more stabilizing compounds, more protection. And with that, the internal chemistry shifts. The balance becomes harder. The cost of regulation grows. The deep ocean does not give much extra energy. Food is scarce. So if regulation becomes too expensive, survival becomes impossible. Take a slow breath. This is where we begin to approach a boundary. Not a visible wall, but a biological limit. A point where a fish can no longer afford the chemistry it needs. Not because life is weak, but because physics becomes too demanding. The deeper the pressure, the more protection is required. And at some point, and the trade-off becomes too much. Take another slow breath. This is one reason. Fish do not go all the way to the deepest ocean. Not because the deep is empty, not because food never arrives, but because the chemistry of being a fish has limits. There is a depth where the cost of protection and the cost of salt balance can no longer be paid. Take another slow breath. Yet below that depth, life continues. It is simply different. Smaller organisms, more scavengers, more microbes, creatures with different solutions, different chemistry, different strategies for pressure, and the trench becomes a kingdom where fish are rare and other life becomes more common. Take a slow breath, and tonight, you do not need to remember every detail. You only need the calm idea that life adapts till it reaches a boundary. And when one kind of life cannot go further, another kind continues. The deep ocean is not empty. It is selective, quietly selective. Take one more slow breath and let your thoughts drift, like particles falling slowly into calm darkness. Take a slow breath. Stay with the boundary we were approaching and the place where fish begin to disappear. And not suddenly, not as a dramatic line, but as a gradual fading. Deeper, fewer fish. Deeper still, almost none. Take another slow breath. A fish body is a careful system. It is built to regulate salt, to regulate water, to keep cells balanced. Even at the surface, this is constant work. In the ocean, salt is everywhere, and the fish must always manage it. If the fish is less salty than seawater, water tries to leave the body, so the fish must drink and pump excess salts out. A quiet job, done every moment. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the deep, where pressure increases and the fish needs more chemical protection inside its cells, more stabilizing molecules, more support for proteins, more help to keep life functioning. And as those molecules increase, the internal chemistry changes. The fish becomes closer to the saltiness of seawater. The gradient becomes smaller. Balance becomes harder. Take another slow breath. At first, this might seem helpful. If the body becomes closer to seawater, maybe the fish has less work to do. But the deep sea is not simple, because beyond a certain point, the internal chemistry can shift too far, and then the direction of water movement can change. Take a slow breath. If a fish became saltier than the surrounding water, water would tend to move into the fish, not out. That might sound manageable. After all, freshwater fish deal with water moving into them. They produce dilute urine. They pump salts back. They manage the flow. Take another slow breath. But in the deep sea, that strategy is almost impossible. Energy is scarce. A deep fish cannot afford constant, expensive pumping. Food is limited. Every calorie matters. The deep ocean does not provide extra fuel for endless regulation. Take another slow breath, and there is another problem. Deep sea fish cannot afford large internal cavities. They cannot have designs that require big bladders, and they cannot safely maintain large fluid processing systems the way freshwater fish can. Pressure makes such solutions difficult. So the deep ocean removes options. It narrows the set of possible designs. Take another slow breath. So a fish faces a quiet trap. To survive pressure, it needs stabilizing chemistry. But too much stabilizing chemistry shifts internal balance. And if balance shifts too far, and the fish would need solutions that the deep sea does not allow, too expensive, too demanding, too risky under pressure. Take another slow breath. And this is how a boundary forms. Not a wall you can see, but a limit created by trade-offs. Pressure asks for protection. Protection changes chemistry. Chemistry changes salt balance. Salt balance demands energy, and energy is scarce, so eventually, fish reach a depth where the cost cannot be paid. Take a slow breath, and below that depth, fish become rare, then absent. But the trench is not empty. Other life continues. Life that does not rely on the same fish design. Life that can survive with different strategies. Smaller bodies, different stabilizers, different membranes, different rhythms. Take a slow breath. In the deepest trenches, the kingdom shifts. The small become dominant. Scavengers become common. Microbes become foundational. The rules are still harsh, but life still adapts. Take one more slow breath and let the idea settle softly. In nature, some forms reach limits and other forms continue, quietly, patiently, in the darkness. Take a slow breath. Now we drift deeper still into the world beyond fish. The darkness does not change. The cold remains. Pressure increases. And yet, life continues. Take another slow breath. In the deepest trenches, small organisms often thrive. Amphipods, tiny crustaceans, moving across sediment, feeding on what gathers in the trench. In places where fish are absent, predation pressure can be lower, and that can allow scavengers to become more abundant. A quiet advantage, a shift in the balance. Take a slow breath. Amphipods are not fast hunters. They are recyclers. They feed on fragments. They gather around rare food falls. They survive on small pieces. They are built for efficiency. And in the deepest ocean, efficiency can be more important than size. Take another slow breath. Microbes also become more important. In trenches, food can accumulate along the axis. Sediment can hold organic matter. Microbial communities process it. They break it down slowly. They recycle nutrients. They form the base of deep food webs, invisible workers in endless darkness. Take a slow breath. Even single-celled organisms can be remarkable here. Some form large, delicate structures. Some collect particles. Some create simple habitats for other microbes. In the deep ocean, the smallest life can sometimes become strangely large, not by speed, not by power, but by steady growth over time. Take another slow breath. So when fish disappear, it is not the end of life. It is a change in who dominates, a change in which designs succeed. The trenches become a world where softness, small size, and careful chemistry can thrive. Take a slow breath. Imagine the trench floor now. Cold mud, fine sediment, slowly settling particles. And across that floor, small scavengers moving gently, not frantic, not loud, just steady. A quiet community, built for pressure. Take another slow breath. The deep ocean's greatest lesson is resilience. Life finds ways to continue, even when one familiar form reaches its limit. It continues through different bodies, different chemistries, different partnerships, different rhythms. And those rhythms are slow, calm, patient. Take a slow breath. And tonight, you can borrow that rhythm. No need to force sleep. No need to rush. Let thoughts drift like particles. Let tension settle like sediment. Let your breathing slow, steady, quiet, as if the deep ocean is holding you. Take one more slow breath. The trenches remain below, dark, cold, and alive in their own quiet way. And you can rest within that calmness as the ocean continues, slowly, gently, through the night. Take a slow breath. We begin the final descent toward the deepest place in the ocean. The water is colder now, the darkness is complete, and the pressure is steady, unavoidable, and immense. Take another slow breath. Above us, the trench walls rise like cliffs. Below us, the seafloor drops away again into deeper corridors, deeper basins, deeper stillness. The Hadal zone feels like a world within a world, a place where the surface is not only far away, it feels unreal. Take a slow breath. In this depth, nothing moves quickly. There is no advantage to rushing. Energy is scarce, and pressure shapes everything. So life becomes soft, flexible, and patient. Imagine drifting in the dark water, weightless, held by the ocean. The pressure is heavy, but steady. The cold is strong, but constant. And the deep feels calm, because it changes so slowly. Take another slow breath. Particles still fall, even here. Marine snow does not stop. It continues, gently, endlessly, feeding the trench in small amounts. And because trenches collect, some of that food settles along the deepest lines. A quiet advantage for the small scavengers that live here. Take a slow breath. Now imagine the trench floor far below. Not a dramatic landscape, see, but a narrow valley of mud, fine sediment, soft slopes, and in places, tiny animals moving gently, searching for fragments, for traces, for enough. Take another slow breath. The deeper we go, the more the ocean becomes a world of the small. Not because small is weak, but because small is efficient. Small bodies need less food. Small bodies fit into sediment. Small bodies can endure long periods of scarcity. And in the deepest places, endurance matters more than speed. Take a slow breath. As we descend, think of the trench as a slow collector, a valley where particles settle, a place where rare food falls may gather. And when a larger piece of food arrives, it becomes an event, a quiet gathering, then a quiet dispersal. The deep sea does not celebrate, it simply uses what arrives. Take another slow breath, and now we are nearing the most famous trench of all, the Mariana Trench, a deep scar in the earth where the crust bends and the seafloor sinks to incredible depths. We are moving toward its deepest point, the Challenger Deep. Take a slow breath, and this descent is not fast. It is slow, gentle, steady, like a thought drifting downward, like a particle settling, like your breathing becoming calm. Take one more slow breath, and let the ocean carry you deeper, quietly, patiently, toward the final frontier. Take a slow breath. We are close now to the deepest place on Earth, the Challenger Deep, nearly 11,000 meters below the surface, a depth so great it is hard to imagine. And yet, the environment remains simple: cold, dark, pressure, stillness. Take another slow breath. At these depths, fish are gone. The familiar forms disappear, but life does not end. It becomes different, more microbial, more scavenger-based, more focused on small bodies and efficient chemistry. Take a slow breath. Imagine the trench floor here: cold mud, fine sediment, a narrow basin where particles settle, and in that sediment, microbes, bacteria, tiny organisms processing what arrives. In darkness, life becomes chemistry. Take another slow breath. Even small food falls can matter here. A drifting fragment, a dead animal from above, a rare gift. When it arrives, small scavengers gather. Amphipods, tiny crustaceans, worms. They feed, then rest, then feed again, and then disperse. A quiet rhythm. Take a slow breath. And between these events, microbes continue. They are always present, always working, breaking down organic matter, recycling nutrients, supporting the base of this deep ecosystem, invisible but powerful. Take another slow breath. At the Challenger Deep, the pressure is beyond what most life can tolerate. But microbes can adapt. Small organisms can adapt because their bodies are simple. Their needs are small. Their chemistry can be tuned to extremes. Take a slow breath. This is the deep ocean's quiet truth. When conditions become too extreme for complex bodies, life continues through simpler forms, not weaker forms, just different designs, different strategies for survival. Take a slow breath. Now imagine hovering above the trench floor in complete darkness. No surface sound, No waves, only still water, only steady pressure. And in that stillness, life continues, quietly, patiently, without light. Take one more slow breath and let the calmness of the deepest ocean become your calmness too. Take a slow breath. Wait, now we focus on the smallest world, the microbial world, because in the deepest places, microbes are not just present, they are central, and they are the quiet foundation. Take another slow breath. Microbes live in sediment. They live on particles. They live in thin films on surfaces. They live wherever chemistry allows. And in the trenches, chemistry can be shaped by accumulation. Food settles. Organic matter concentrates, and microbes respond. Take a slow breath. Microbes break down what falls, slowly, steadily. They recycle carbon, they recycle nutrients, they transform complex materials into simpler forms, and those simpler forms support other small life, a quiet foundation built in darkness. Take another slow breath. Some microbes can tolerate immense pressure. They keep their proteins stable, their membranes flexible, their chemistry balanced. They are adapted to a world that would crush most familiar life. And because they are small, they can be efficient. They do not need much. They simply need steadiness. And the deep ocean provides steadiness. Take a slow breath. Now imagine amphipods again, tiny scavengers. In the deepest trenches, they can become abundant, especially where fish are absent. They gather around food. They feed quickly, then rest. They drift away, then return when the next event arrives. A quiet cycle. Take a slow breath. Take a slow breath. We have reached the ocean's final frontier, and now we let everything soften. The deepest ocean remains below, dark, cold, alive in its own quiet way, and you can rest. Take another slow breath. Imagine yourself floating, weightless, in calm water. No effort, no struggle, only gentle drifting. The ocean holds you. Steady pressure, soft darkness, slow time. Take a slow breath. If you are still awake, let your breathing slow, in and out, quietly. If your thoughts are active, let them drift, let them become lighter, then settle. Like marine snow, like sediment, like calm. Take another slow breath. Now we begin a loop, a gentle loop, that can repeat as long as you need. The ocean is calm. The darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift. Currents breathe. Life persists quietly below. Take a slow breath. The ocean is calm. The darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift. Currents breathe. Life persists quietly below. Take another slow breath. If your mind wanders, that is okay. Return to the words. Return to the breath. Return to the deep ocean's steadiness. The ocean is calm. The darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift. Currents breathe. Life persists quietly below. Take one more slow breath and let everything slow down. Quietly, gently, through the night. Take a slow breath, and the ocean is calm. and the darkness is soft. You are safe, and there is nothing you need to do. Only listen and drift. The deep ocean continues, steady, quiet, unchanging. Particles drift, slowly, like marine snow, falling through endless water. Take another slow breath. The ocean is calm, and the darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Currents breathe, gently, without hurry, and life persists below, quietly, patiently. Take a slow breath. If a thought appears, let it appear. If it fades, let it fade. No effort, no struggle, only drifting, only settling, like sediment becoming smooth. Take another slow breath. The deep ocean is steady. The pressure is constant. The cold is gentle in its own way. Nothing changes quickly here, and that steadiness can feel comforting. Take a slow breath. The ocean is calm, the darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift, currents breathe. Life persists quietly below. Take another slow breath. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your breathing slow. In and out, quietly. Take a slow breath. And the ocean is calm and the darkness is soft. You are floating, weightless, held gently by the water. Nothing to solve, nothing to fix. Only rest. Take another slow breath. If your mind wanders, that is okay. Bring it back slowly to the sound of the deep, to the steadiness, to the calm. Take a slow breath. The ocean is calm and the darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift, currents breathe. Life persists quietly below. Take another slow breath. Now imagine the deepest seafloor, far below, still, silent, endless. A quiet world, moving at the speed of patience. Take a slow breath. The ocean is calm, and the darkness is soft. And you can sleep, while the deep continues, quietly, through the night. Take one more slow breath, in and out, slowly, gently, and let everything soften. The ocean is calm, and the darkness is soft. The deep continues its slow rhythm. Particles drift, currents breathe. Life persists quietly. Below. Before we continue with the soft loop, if this documentary helped you feel calmer, please subscribe to Unseen Ocean Sleep documentary so you can find the next ocean sleep journey easily. And if you'd like to support this channel, you'll find the link in the description below. Thank you for being here. Now just relax and let the deep ocean continue.